scale of 1 to 10, how surprised are you by what LeBron keeps doing in these Olympic tune-up games?
I know he's 39, and I know that this is, his fourth Olympics. Skip, to be honest, I gave it a 2. And you know why? Because when you talk about a GOAT amongst GOATs on the team, I feel like LeBron's supposed to be doing that. Like, if it comes down to it, and when I look at the hierarchy of this ball club, it goes LeBron, KD, Steph, and then whoever after that. But I expect LeBron to take over and lead this team if it gets close. And I'm glad they're having these type of games, but this is an indicator of what I think the Olympics is going to be. At first we were talking before when they put the Olympic team, you look at all the names, this may be the greatest Olympic collection we've ever seen. But the way it's looking like it's looking like that they're going to be in for some dogfights. It looks like they're going to be in for some dogfights, and I know they don't have KD, and it makes me wonder if KD is even going to make it back to be in good enough shape to, even give him something, But knowing that they have the depth, he can play a few minutes here and there and get in kind of game shape while they still have time left. But LeBron, it's not shocking that but the most shocking thing for me, Skip, is that it's coming down to this in these games. That's what's shocking to me, that it's coming down to LeBron's heroics just for them to win. They're a 40-point favorite, they win by 1. They're a 15-point favorite, they win by 4. If one of these teams get hot and make about 15, 16 threes with a good percentage, the U.S. can be in trouble. But the good thing about it is they know if it comes down to it and it gets to be a close game, they know who they're going to. It's not Durant, it's not Curry, it's not Embiid, it's LeBron, and they found that out early. So, surprising, no, I expect that. That's LeBron James. I don't care if he's 30, 40, 50, that's LeBron James. You expect him to pick us up and bring us home, because that's who he is. And if we're talking about being one of the greatest of all time, I wasn't shocked at all. He's supposed to do that.
Even at this stage and age.
I mean, just coming off the season, you averaged 28, 26, and he's still at peak performance. He's still an all-NBA player. But it's just, when you look at the regular season and you like, oh, Ant-Man is next in line or Jason Tatum is this, but when you see the collection come all together and you watch LeBron, man, he might be clearly the best player still in the NBA. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it just looks that way watching this.
Time out.
Seriously. No, seriously.
You just punctured the wound right there with Skip.
I know.
Okay.
But look at the collection.
So you just
why isn't nobody else doing this?
Okay.
Why isn't Curry stepping up? I want to see Ant-Man or Tatum do this.
Curry did step up a couple games ago.
No, but this is supposed to be one of the young boys coming and doing this for them.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so real quick, if you say suddenly you're making a case, LeBron could still be the best player in all of basketball, and we have seen Anthony Davis rise and shine in at least 4 of these games. He was a little quiet yesterday, but we have seen him play like he's a top 5-ish, at least a top 10 player. And yet you completely write the Lakers off.
I do write the Lakers. They don't got no chemistry. They don't got the. They haven't had no chemistry.
In basketball, when only 5 can play at once, if you have those 2, you should have a shot,
compete
man.
for the finals, right? That's what I would be thinking.
Okay.
That's what I would think.
Okay.
I mean, just for the record.
Yeah. So in other words, don't write us off is what he's saying.
That's what I'm saying.
But y'all don't got the chemistry for some reason. For one reason, it's the scapegoat Westbrook. It's the scapegoat.
I don't know what it is.
It's the scapegoat coach, Darvin Ham, and then it's just always somebody else. But when I see AD and LeBron perform like this, it makes you wonder, is the window still open?
Maybe they would have better coached.
Man, it's just always
better coaches, so to speak. Because they got an all-star coaching staff over there.
Yeah, except for the head
they
coach.
look like star amongst stars.
Head coach.
What do you mean?
Like rock star head coach.
Rock star,
yeah. You got Ty Lue over there. You got Spo over there.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Olympic team. I was just saying.
Okay.
I was saying that. The coaching for the Lakers have been poured, and now this chemistry with AD and LeBron on the Olympic team because they got a rock star coaching staff.
Yeah.
Them coaches we had,
I don't think. Look at the talent on this team. But you don't think it should come down to this though. You know, that's what I'm more shocked at.
They still trying to get used to the rules.
Right. Yep.
I mean, there's a bunch of balls bouncing off hands.
Yep.
It's just a lot of turnovers. They got to get used to doing this. And you asked the question, Skip, about 1 to 10. Yeah. It's a 0 for me.
Really?
Because it's LeBron James.
Yeah.
Any of these dudes, in my opinion, any of these guys that's over there at the Olympic on the team right now can turn on the switch at any given moment. Any of them. Any of them can turn that switch on at any moment, because we've seen it early on. It was Ant-Man and AD, and then Bam, and then Curry. Now you see these last 2 games, it's LeBron. Just some of the things that he's doing, though, when you're watching him, you can completely tell he knows I'm better than them. I'm better than my opponent. So now I'm up and under. My footwork gonna be smooth. I'm gonna give a pump fake. It's just like some of the stuff is crazy, but you can look at him and say, he might, as I said to you before, if you close your eyes and you just looked at some highlights and some numbers and didn't know who it was some sort of silhouette, you would say, oh, that's one of the top 2 or 3, 4 players in the NBA. He's making about $70 million a year. That's what you would say.
Well, he is making 50. But
well, I mean, you know what I'm saying. He would be the top guy. It wouldn't even be an argument. But because of his age, we keep going back to, he's doing this, he's 39 years old. He's doing this at 39 years old.
But, like, you know, this crazy part about this when I watch it is he's, like, I've seen him defer to Kyrie. I've seen him defer to Anthony Davis late in games. I've seen him pass the ball to George Hill down the stretch. Like, you got Curry over here, you got Ant-Man over here, and he's not deferring down the stretch.
Because they can't do that, because they can't do anything with him, Paul.
But the thing, listen, they can't do nothing with him in the league. Do you understand what I'm saying? For the simple fact that he's been known sometimes to defer down the stretch. You got the ultimate nuclear weapons out here that you shouldn't mind deferring to, but he's not, is what I'm saying. And so it make you wonder, like, he could have been doing this and probably would have more championships if he played like this down the stretch. And so I'm like, man.
Instead of deferring to people.
Yes. When you got nuclear, he could easily be like, go ahead, Curry, because Curry just made an and one. Boom, you could have went back to him, but he was like, nah, I got this. I get on my back, I got this. Despite all the nuclear weapons I got over here, this is me. I was just like, that mindset is like, man.
For the most part in his career, though,
at that age,
at the end, he take control at the end, for the most part. I mean, he might have passed a few times.
It's just surprising, like, that part, like, when you got all these, but you expect that from him. I've always expected.
If I was just watching him the last 2 games, and I don't know all the international players, because there's so many of them, different, but it just seems like, to me, if he was abroad, he'd be the best player in the international level. And I know the Joker's there and all that, but he would literally be, just based on watching him, he'd be the best player over there, too.
Okay, I got something I need to remind both of you of. It is crucial to this discussion.
I don't want you
to go here. Talk about the 2 missed free throws.
No, I know what he's going to.
I don't think you do.
Okay, go ahead, Skip. Go ahead.
These are practice games.
Okay.
These don't count. These are exhibitions. These are what the internationals call friendlies, which is
a silly indicator, term. Though. This is an indicator. It's a small sample size indicator.
It's just practice. And as I tweeted at the end of the game yesterday, LeBron James is the king of practice games. Because what happened in the bubble, when nobody else was able to take it as seriously as LeBron did, he rose and he shone and he took over in the bubble, right? What happened in the inaugural in-season tournament this year? What happened? Nobody was ready to take it that seriously until LeBron said, watch this. And he led Darvin Ham's team to a championship in the first ever in-season tournament. So here we go again in the Olympics, but these are the tune-up games for the Olympics because not one of them they played 5 of them and they don't count. It doesn't start until Sunday it's like 3:30 Eastern, right? When they play Serbia in group play in the first game of what could be 6 Olympic games to the championship and to the gold. So my point is, LeBron is taking it way, way more seriously, to my eye, than other players are taking it on either team, our team or their team. And you are right. We are loaded. We are overloaded with stars. We're seriously overloaded, and we don't even have Kawhi or, to your point, Kevin Durant yet. And yet, LeBron is just saying down the stretch, okay, I got this. Because when he wants to, when he decides to, he's getting better and better at playing bully ball down the stretch. Because there's still, I just look at my eye test of the people on the floor, everybody on Germany. Maybe Tice can sort of stand up to him, but in general, he's the biggest, baddest man on the floor. I'm talking about just height and brawn.
Absolutely.
He is literally LeBron, B-R-A-W-N, LeBron, right? Because he's got brawn. He's got raw musculature where he just attacks, and he's still got, he has extraordinary quickness for his age, just extraordinary explosiveness. I don't see an ounce of loss of that. So when he attacks the basket, the Germans, or let's go back to South Sudan, they're just overmatched, right? So the point is, Australia had a bunch of shots. Now when it counts, you better hope somebody doesn't have a hot night.
Yeah, that's the only way you're going to be able to beat them.
Yeah, because in the end, with LeBron taking over against South Sudan and then yesterday against Germany, it still tells me there's still something missing in the team where he has to finally just throw up his hands and say, no, I'm going to do this, right?
It's the ball movement, Skip, because clearly you can see the difference in the first unit and the second unit, because the second unit comes in with this defensive intensity. They make the extra pass, whereas when you think about it, you got a team full of guys that are the number one option or number two at worst. So now you asking like, hey, go stand in the corner. They're not used to that. They not, go set a screen. They're not used to that. You know what I'm saying? As a number one option, you telling them to do things that they're not normally necessary that they do? Only one number one option is Bron. He going to play his role number one option. He's always, no matter what team he's on. Curry is second fiddle now. Anthony Davis, reason he's great, because he plays that role already. So he's comfortable in that role.
He is.
You know, and the reason Bam is good, because he plays that role already too. But when you look at the other guys, they're going to be up and down. Tatum, Curry, Ant-Man, they're going to be up and down because they're used to being the guy. And so when they're not the guy, it's like, what do I do? You know, how do I help? You know what I'm saying? So that's where the chemistry problems, I think, come in at, because of them having really undefined roles. You can't go over there and tell Curry to stand in the corner or Ant-Man to stand in the corner when they're all used to having the ball, coming and being in every action of every play, every time down. So that's why you see the difficulties on offense that they have, whereas these other teams been together, Skip. They've been playing 8 months out of the year, and then they plug in their NBA stars when they come in. But the other guys, they've been together. And so that's why it looks this way, that these other teams look like they can beat the U.S. because they've been together. Team USA have been together 2 weeks. They'll get it together. They'll be fine. That's why they're not covering the spread right now. But I think by next week.
They surely didn't cover it against South Sudan. That's for sure.
They did not.
They did not. Oh, that was a.
So the other shock yesterday to me was our guys hoisted up only 17 threes. This is a three-point shooting contest in the Olympics. It's the way international basketball works. Germany got up 45 to 17 attempts. They only made 13, but we only made 6. So they outscored us by 21 points at the three-point line, but they couldn't make one when it really mattered in the fourth quarter, which is why they went all the way up to 45 attempts, because if you go through the first 3 quarters, they were shooting it pretty well, and then all of a sudden they go all the way back to 29%. Okay,
45.
so 45.
Yeah, 17. But you know why there's a drop-off in three-point attempts? Because if you look at the floor, the three-point line is shorter, which leaves less spacing to create drives. And the other thing on defense, whereas in the NBA, you can't stand in the middle in the NBA as a defensive player.
Or you'll get defensive.
Or it's 3 seconds, whereas I'm seeing teams stand in the middle.
They do.
And so there's no driving lanes, because usually you get your three-pointers off the drive and kick. Whereas the European teams, they understand how to get their three-pointers off. Where U.S. is like, drive. If the driving lane's not there, it's hard for them to get to the rim. And that's why when you see LeBron go to the rim, it's not a straight line drive. He's really going through you. Like he's going through 2 people, because there's always people in the lane. And that's why they can't get in and not kick out for these three-pointers to get the attempts.
Okay, so here's for the 5 practice games. our opponents got up 30 more three-point shots than we did
That's
through
a
5
concern.
games. So they shot 163 times from 3. We shot 133 times. But we made 48 to their 48 in the 5 games.
Okay.
So we made 36% of our threes, which is pretty good.
That's solid.
Yeah, real solid.
That's solid.
And our opponents made 29%. Well, is it because they were guarded? Sometimes they were guarded, but sometimes they just had open looks. And I think it's because you're playing Team USA in the fourth quarter, you start to get a little shaky, right?
That's my one concern, Skip.
Yeah.
Key, if one of these teams get hot from 3, because like Skip showed on here, Germany had a lot of open threes. If they make 2 of those, we're not talking about this LeBron performance, this morning. So hopefully they can figure out, but I think the problem lies is they're getting off the slow starts and the rotations are slow, especially when you got Embiid in the pick and roll. He creates three-point opportunities because he's not able to switch like a Bam Adebayo and an Anthony Davis. So now when you run your pick and roll and you're in a drop coverage with him, guards are getting into the lane and finding their shooters on the opposite team, which is Sudan did and which Germany did. So they're going to have to figure something out prior to the Olympics in that coverage.
Okay. Keyshawn, are you encouraged or discouraged by what you've seen for 5 games? Because you've kind of cooled off.
I mean, it's practice, like you say. I've seen enough to make me believe that they'll be able to bring home the gold, and the games are going to be tough. They're not going to be 50-point blowouts.
No.
They're going to be a little, I think they'll cover spreads. I think they will. I think they'll cover spreads.
It just depends how sort of overestimated they get by Vegas. Like the odds makers.
Those spreads are definitely moving after these.
I mean, I think when you look at the South Sudan situation, I think that really kind of, made you stand up and go, wait a minute.
Yeah, wait a minute. Yeah.
Because Canada, they could have ran away with that one. Then after that, they played Serbia. We saw what that
remember,
was.
Steph made 6 out of 9 against Serbia.
Against Serbia.
Right.
Then we had the Australia little kind of back and forth.
Yeah, Australia was before Serbia.
We was up, and then we let them close the gap.
Yeah.
And then when you look at the South Sudan situation, you got to go, oh, my God. When you look at your phone or whatever, you're like, wait a minute, man, did somebody get hurt?
Yeah.
Because going into it, you just didn't really know. That's why I always was saying, let me see what this team looks like. I'm not going to assume that they're just hot garbage. And now when you look at the situation yesterday with Germany, you go, okay, they got some players that play in the NBA. They know, like Paul said, they've been together 8 months. They plug in 3 or 4 of the NBA guys that don't miss a beat.
Yep.
And they're going to be tough because even though you think that they play possum, they want to beat the U.S. I don't care if it's practice or not.
I got it. And
LeBron's not going to allow that to happen. That's why he put it on his shoulders.
Okay, so what I've seen through 5 games is all these opponents have better basketball teams than we have as far as chemistry and unity and ball movement and connection. But we have by far the better basketball players.
Oh, no question.
By far.
Yeah.
So if we can start to figure each other out, and Steve Kerr, he's going to be on the hotter and hotter seat because he's got to push the right buttons at the right times, get the right people on the floor. Then we should win it, but we ain't cruising to it.
We're not cruising.
No.
No, it's not going to be like Dream Team 1. It's not going to be that. This is going to be tough.
Who they open up against?
Serbia.
Serbia.
So
Serbia's legit, but we smashed them.
Yeah, they legit. Yeah. So you look at that, Skip, and you just take one game at a time, and we'll see how we cruise.
Yeah, 3 in group play, and then you go quarters, semis, and finals to 6 games. That's what you got ahead of you. Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.